Chapter 1: The Archer's Curse. There is a subtle, agonizing trap that awaits anyone striving for elite performance. You build the skill, you refine the technique, you log thousands of hours in silence, perfecting every mechanical detail of your craft. Yet the moment the pressure peaks, the moment the audience gathers, or the outcome suddenly matters deeply, your body tightens, your breathing becomes shallow. The very effort to succeed destroys your ability to perform. Consider the story of Gensuke, a celebrated archer of feudal Japan. Gensuke was a master of mechanics. His stance was flawless. His draw was steady as an iron beam. His release was crisp, like lightning splitting the night sky. In the quiet solitude of his backyard range, Gensuke could split a hanging willow leaf at 50 paces. He hit the target 10 times out of 10. Yet Gensuke was haunted by an embarrassing curse. Whenever he stepped into a formal competition, surrounded by judges, spectators, and rival lords, his grip on the bowstring would tremble. The target, once large and inviting, appeared to shrink to the size of a pinhead. His eyes would dart frantically between his arrow tip and the bullseye, hypercalculating wind speed, distance, and his own heart rate. The harder Gensuke tried to hit the mark, the wider his arrow flew. His intense focus on winning generated a suffocating internal tension. This is the agony of over-intention. When your desire for a specific result consumes your awareness, you stop operating as a fluid, instinctual force. You become a rigid, fearful observer of your own actions. Chapter 2: The Silent Master. Desperate to break his curse, Gensuke abandoned his archery school and journeyed high into the misty bamboo forests of Mount Hiei. He sought an elderly master named Kenzo, a legend who was rumored to shoot without looking, hitting distant marks in pitch darkness. Gensuke found Master Kenzo sitting on a flat stone beneath a grove of swaying bamboo, holding an unadorned wooden bow. Gensuke immediately fell to his knees, laying his expensive bows before the elder. Master Gensuke pleaded, "My mechanics are perfect, yet my arrows fail me when the stakes are high. I try with all my strength to hit the center, but the harder I aim, the further I stray. Teach me how to lock my sights onto the target so I can never miss again." Kenzo looked at the young archer with quiet compassion. He did not inspect Gensuke's expensive equipment. He did not evaluate his physical posture. "Your problem is not your technique," Kenzo said softly. "Your problem is that you are still in the room. You stand with your bow, thinking of yourself as the archer, the bow as your tool, and the target as your prize. You are split into 3 separate pieces, warring with each other for control." Kenzo stood up, unhurried and fluid. He lifted his simple bow, notched a plain wooden arrow, and turned toward a massive ravine. On the far side of the chasm, partially obscured by swirling mountain mist, sat a small wooden post. The old master did not squint. He did not check the wind with a lifted finger. He did not strain his muscles or hold his breath. He simply raised the bow, drew the string to his ear, and let go. The arrow cut through the fog in a clean, quiet arc, striking the exact center of the post with a solid thud. "You aim too hard," Kenzo said, turning back to Gensuke. "You care too much about the applause that follows the hit. To shoot truly, you must stop trying to hit the target. You must let the shot shoot itself." Chapter 3: The Forest of Silence. For 3 years, Gensuke lived alongside Master Kenzo in the solitary mountains. But Kenzo did not allow Gensuke to touch a bow for the first year. Instead, he forced the proud young man to perform the simplest, most mindless tasks. Gensuke swept fallen bamboo leaves from the stone paths. He carried heavy buckets of spring water up steep mud trails. He cooked simple meals over open wood fires. Whenever Gensuke's mind wandered toward archery, dreaming of returning to the city to prove his skill, Kenzo would strike the ground with his walking stick, shaking Gensuke out of his reverie. "Stay here," Kenzo would command. Do not sweep the path to make it clean for tomorrow. Sweep the path because you are holding the broom right now. Slowly, over months of repetition, Gensuke's internal chatter began to quiet down. He ceased thinking about his past failures. He stopped projecting grand visions of future glory. His mind settled into the immediate present. He learned to carry water without thinking about the destination and sweep leaves without caring if more fell behind him. When Kenzo finally handed Gensuke a bow at the beginning of the second year, there were no targets set up. There were no wooden posts or paper rings. Kenzo pointed Gensuke toward a massive mound of soft straw positioned just 3 feet away. Shoot into the straw, Kenzo instructed. Do not aim, do not calculate. Simply draw, become the tension, and allow the arrow to release when the bow demands it. Day after day, month after month, Gensuke shot arrows into the straw from 3 feet away. Because it was impossible to miss a target so close, his fear of failure completely evaporated. His shoulders dropped, his breathing deepened, his hands lost their nervous twitch. He was no longer practicing the art of hitting a mark, he was practicing the art of letting go. Chapter 4: The Blind Shot. On the final day of the 3rd year, Kenzo led Gensuke deep into the dense forest at nightfall. The moon was hidden behind heavy storm clouds, leaving the woods in absolute, suffocating darkness. You could not see your own hand held inches from your face. Kenzo stopped at the edge of a steep cliff. Somewhere far across the dark void, an iron bell hung from an unseen wooden frame. Gensuke, Kenzo whispered in the dark, "Shoot the bell." Gensuke felt a brief flash of his old anxiety return. The target was completely invisible. He had no visual reference points, no way to measure distance, and no way to line up his sights. Then Gensuke remembered the 3 years of sweeping leaves, carrying water, and shooting into the straw. He realized that searching for the target with his eyes was an act of desperation born from the ego's desire to control the outcome. He closed his eyes, surrendering to the total darkness. Gensuke stepped up to the edge of the abyss. He did not think of himself as an archer. He did not think of the bell. He raised his bow, allowing his body to naturally align itself through pure muscle memory and intuition. He drew the string back to his ear. In that quiet moment, the tension in the wood, the cold mountain air, the sound of the wind, and Gensuke's own heartbeat merged into a single, unified frequency. There was no conscious decision to release. The arrow simply left the bow, like a ripe fruit dropping naturally from a tree branch when it is ready. A long, suspended moment of silence hung over the dark ravine. Then, deep out of the pitch-black void, came a sharp, clear, echoing chime. The iron bell rang out, vibrating through the canyon walls. Gensuke opened his eyes. He did not jump with joy. He did not cheer or boast. He simply bowed deeply toward the dark void, understanding for the first time the secret of effortless execution. Chapter 5: Mastering Wu Wei. What Gensuke discovered on that dark cliff edge is the ancient Taoist principle of Wu Wei, the art of effortless action. Wu Wei is not passivity or laziness. It is the state of hyper-alignment where your conscious ego steps out of the way, allowing your deep, trained instincts to execute without internal friction. Modern performance psychology calls this the flow state. It is the zone where self-consciousness disappears, time stretches, and peak execution happens automatically. The primary barrier to entering this state is attachment to the outcome. When you are obsessed with winning, gaining approval, or avoiding failure, your brain triggers a threat response. You begin micromanaging your own actions. You hesitate. You force movements that should be fluid, introducing friction into your execution. To master Wu Wei in your work, craft, or daily life, you must separate process from outcome. Practice the skill with relentless discipline, but when it comes time to execute, drop the desire to win. Aim by refusing to aim. Act so completely in the present moment that the result becomes an effortless byproduct. Chapter 6: Stopping the Aim. Unlocking effortless performance requires 3 simple shifts in your daily execution. First, identify where you are aiming too hard. Notice where anxiety or perfectionism is causing you to freeze. Recognize that this friction is caused by your ego's obsession with control. Second, fall in love with the straw mound. Focus entirely on the immediate, unglamorous mechanics of your work. Write the sentence without worrying if the book will sell. Make the phone call without fearing rejection. Code the script without stressing over the launch. Treat every action as an end in itself. Finally, practice the blind release. When the time comes to deliver, trust the thousands of hours of preparation behind you. Surrender the need to watch where the arrow lands. Step up to the edge, draw your bow, and let the action execute itself. When you stop trying to force the mark, you eliminate the invisible wall between yourself and mastery. Drop your tension, release your grasp on the outcome, step into the arena, stop aiming, and let your arrow fly.